Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lorin DaCosta's charity simul. Lorin is raising money for charity, and I think he's going to be doing a marathon as well, and maybe I think it's a chess and running marathon.
Oh my goodness.
We'll maybe hear more details from him on that later. But this first stage of the fundraising is a chess simul, and we will see International Master Lorin DaCosta take on lots of juniors, and so we are going to comment. And actually, let's put our names on it. So this is
wow.
I didn't even do anything. Oh, that's called default font. There you go, the default font. But actually, it's nicer, isn't it?
That's lovely. Yeah, that looks very good.
Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So you're going to share your screen, I think, today. So.
I have shared my screen, so if you could probably just activate.
Here we go.
Now let's have a look. I'll see whether I can. I don't know whether I can make this somehow better or bigger, but I'm just sort of expecting once. Not sure. Let's have a look. Just forgive us whilst I play around a little bit. Maybe I need to. If I just share my.
Share the tab, that all should work.
Share the tab. That normally works better, doesn't it? Like that.
Yeah, that's better.
Then we can. Then I think that looks better, doesn't it?
Already see on the preview. That's better.
Yeah, that's better, right? So let's have a look. Can I make it maybe a bit bigger? Yeah, I'll make it that way. I don't make it too big, and then we'll see what. Let's have a look. Just get everyone on there like that. Can I make it a bit bigger? Not too big. So just so it fills the whole page. There we are. That's about 3/4 of my screen, but I think that's pretty good. So yeah, hopefully we'll yeah. When the boards start, we'll see whether we can get it even more optimal. But I think that looks pretty good. When's it starting? Actually,
6:30 is what I
started already.
Understand.
Right?
So it should have started. Do we have to do anything fancy?
I don't have to join, do I? No, I don't think so.
Don't think so. So how do we see it?
So I'm looking for.
I don't think it started yet.
No, I don't think it started yet. Twitch, ECF commentary. Ah, there we are. I think has Haruma started? I know Haruma's just joined. I think a few people are still joining.
Yes.
So yeah, and then it's going to start. We got 1, 2. How many people we've got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 players. Okay. Not yet, about to, says Lorin. So all right.
We will advertise the link to donate. I've just asked Lorin to give us the link.
Oh,
so if anyone wants to donate, we will tell you where to go to donate.
Fantastic. So, okay, looking forward to this. So let's have a look. We got quite a few people with question marks after their name. So that means that, but probably this is because it's sort of a slow play, as some people who obviously haven't played that much on Lee Chess. Ooh, look at him. He's got that's a blitz rating of a rapid rating of 2212.
Ooh,
and the book rating of 2186. That's a decent rating.
Lorin, you got to watch out.
Yeah, we've got somebody with a rapid rating of 2046. So some of these ratings are, people have played higher. Some of them are just are indeed. Oh, W Panda is 2139.
Oh, I don't have any of these on mine. How weird.
Ah!
No, it started. Anyway, okay, it started.
Right. So what sort of, I suppose we can just click on the board, can we? And
I think we can, yeah. So we can pick which one.
Should we maybe just, is that viewable for viewers? Or I was wondering whether we should just start to let the first opening moves happen and then click on one that we find interesting, because or maybe we can just let's
just go through in order, because then we'll make sure we get to everyone.
Okay, let's have a look. So BK George, I'm just wondering how I go from board to board. Actually,
I think you just click on it.
No, but I mean, do I have to keep on going back to the simul, or can I just do a next board? See what I mean? But okay, BK George has played D4 against Lorin. That's very good. We've got LP Chess, who's played one E4 against Lorin. So Lorin's taking some white and some black, actually, which is quite tough. Lorin hasn't made any moves yet, actually. So Naiviap is playing E4 against Lorin. We've got that's Lorin playing C4. Lorin wrote a DVD about one C4, so not surprising to see that. Mabrunga has done E4. We've got W Panda hasn't played yet. Maximus Lyons not. Arena SG has played E4. A lot of E4 in this simul. We've got Phoenix Chaser, who's played E4. And let's have a look what I've got.
Oh, I can see a London system appearing.
I can also see a London system on the board there. So that's Lorin's first move there, London system. So who's J833333? I'm not quite sure. It's certainly with the opening moves. I mean, I think what's going to be happening is that Lorin's going to be he's going to be cycling through the boards basically. So I think he's. We did these simuls, haven't we? We've done 3, I think, in total.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about timings for the simul. So this one is set up so that the juniors each get half an hour to play all their moves, and the master, Lorin, gets an hour and a half. Now, you might think that's going to be a lot of time for Lorin, but what you do have to remember is that he is playing, how many was it? 15 boards at once. And so actually you kind of, in your mind, divide that time by that many. And that gives you kind of the average per board of time that you've got. So it's not like he's really got an extra hour to think, because his time will be ticking on all the boards at once.
Indeed. I mean, what do we do? I think I tried with an hour and a half and 30 boards, and I lost half of them on time, I think, didn't I? That was that was quite one of the most depressing experiences in some ways, because you get to at some stage I got to the close to the end time of the simul, and then every time I went to a different board, I lost on time. It was.
I remember that. That was a terrible, because you could see this situation approaching, and you couldn't do anything about it.
No, it was really. But okay, that's let's see how. It's only 15 boards for Lorin, and
yes,
I mean, what really helped getting rid of some games, and I think but I think 15 is quite a good number.
15's doable. Yeah.
So, we've got what is Lorin going to do here? Do you think it's going to be a Benko Gambit with B5, or is he going to play a king, a sort of a deferred Benoni, or a straight Benoni with E6?
Despite having played on the same team as Lorin for probably 2 decades, maybe not quite that long, I still don't know what actually he plays.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All good. We've got a perk here on board 2, D4 coming. So we'll see what Lorin does. Knight F6, I would guess. G6 also possible, just for a little modern. We've got 1 E4 on this board. A lot of a modern from Lorin here, so quite interesting. Obviously decided this is the way to deal with the juniors. We've got a 1 C4 here, 1 C4 E5 played by Black. So Lorin will have to think about what he does. What did Lorin recommend in his DVD? I saw it, but it's quite a few years ago now, so I can't really remember. We've got 1 E4 E5 opening, very solid.
Was it Chess on Toast? Was that Lorin's? Am I making that up? It's swung into my head.
I don't know. This was just a DVD about 1 C4. So
okay.
A complete.
Yeah, he did. I think he's done some DVDs for juniors as well.
Ah, okay. So a Sicilian here, and getting a C3 Sicilian. Okay, that's quite interesting. Another C4 opening here against W Panda. W Panda being one of the strongest players. E6 played. So what I always like doing here is to go, pardon me, Knight C3. Bishop B4 is quite common, and then Queen C2, and just playing these positions. AlphaZero played them a lot, and I like them a lot too, actually. Then what have we got? We've got 1 E4 against Maximus Lyons. We've got a slightly offbeat French there, e4, e6, knight c3. Gives black the opportunity to go back into a Sicilian with c5. If you go d5, white can go d4, which is a mainline winner. Or alternatively, after d5, you can play this slightly offbeat line with knight f3, which is quite interesting. Just I had a little look at it a while back. So that's all possible. We'll see how that goes. e4 against Haruma. We're looking like we're maybe going to get a Grand Prix attack, or maybe
oh, good. I like the Grand Prix attack. That's always a lot of fun.
Or this could just be a cunning move order transposition, and white plays something like knight e2 or knight f3, aiming for a d4 and a close Sicilian. So all possible.
So yeah. So white could play f4 and Grand Prix.
He's played f4. He's played
f4. So it is the Grand Prix. So yeah, we will expect white to attack on the king side in this game. I'll expect Lorin to maybe at some stage, I don't know what he'll do with his pawns, because you can put like a pawn onto d6, or you could try e6, d5. That's a sort of well-known defense against this thing. And then Lorin might try and put his knight in onto d4 and just swap knights to kind of blunt white's attack.
Yeah, normally when the point is that so normally the normal way is for black to go g6, knight f3, bishop g7, and if bishop c4, the fact that you haven't played d6, means you can play e6 and then d5, and then you hit that bishop on c4. That's a very common way of defending. I mean, one of the most common things is that after knight c3, if black wants to play a Najdorf, avoiding all transpositions, black plays d6, and then white plays f4, and that's quite strong. I mean, Vichy has played this with white quite a lot, with a lot of actually. So that's quite common, but we'll see how that all goes. We've got okay. Ooh, wow. Ooh, that
sounds exciting.
So we've had e4. E4, e5, knight c3, d6, g3, knight c6. That's all normal, but f6 is a very... Did black mean to do that, or was that a mouse click? Because f5 makes some sense, but f6 is a really strange move. You don't normally do this, because it's just sort of weakening your king, and obviously the knight can't get to f6. So
yes, yeah. The problem with it, it is that like say the king were to castle king side. Then there's a sort of weak diagonal leading up to the king, so you wouldn't normally want to have that pawn there. You might want to develop the knight, because where's the knight going to go now? Probably, I suppose you can go to e7 and g6.
We're going to get a bishop takes h6 now. Oh, that's going to be ugly for the pawns.
I'm just looking at the chat here. So Marba Unger says, we have low rating, but we will win.
Oh, well, there we are.
Fighting talk from the juniors, and quite right.
Indeed. So,
okay, so will Lorin, in that position, will he take on h6, take the knight and double black's pawns?
As soon as he comes to the board, he will take on h6 and then follow up with
he will, because you can do queen h5 check it.
Yeah. I'm thinking this is force mate, virtually.
Oh, is it force mate? So should we show it? Can we show it on the board? We'll probably just do the arrows.
I'm pretty sure we must be able to do a bit analysis board. There we are. So bishop h6. If you take, I go queen h5 check. And if you go king d, I mean, where do you go? If you go king d7, I go bishop h3 check. And after king e7, I go knight d5 mate.
Yeah. So this problem has stemmed. Gosh, it is nasty. This problem has stemmed from that f6 move, because it then meant that black needed to get the knight out somewhere, so put it on h6. Yeah. But this weakness of the king is it does look very, very dangerous. So
yeah, I mean, basically you just can't capture this piece. That's the point. And but yeah, obviously that's just
so we would expect to see Lorin take the knight there on h6.
Yeah, I'm sure as soon as he gets to the board, he's going to whip that one off. There's not going to be any hesitation there. We've got this is a Tromposky. Bishop g5.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
It takes. So we'll see. I mean, I'm just already seeing Lorin's time. He's 3 moves in and he's lost 8 minutes. I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, I suppose he's played. No, he did. He played another simul last week, although I think it was fewer boards. So, yeah, if you're giving a simul, one thing to be aware is just how much the time depends on how many boards you're playing, just because of the way it divides across all the boards.
Oh, just see that black hasn't actually taken on h6. He's played queen e7.
Okay.
So okay, that avoids the immediate loss, but of course it does mean that you're a piece.
Oh yes, but Lorin will now. He'll be happy to have that extra knight.
Indeed.
Looking very good for white, that one.
And last game is J8333333. So, London system. What's happened there? Bishop f4. How strange. Knight f6, knight c3, a6. He played bishop d2.
So black is black here the junior player?
No, black is Lorin there.
So. White's the junior player. So white was sensibly developing their pieces, but this one moving the bishop twice in the openings unusual because you'd normally want to get out all the rest of your pieces before you start.
Yeah, I mean e3 here would be very normal. Just to you got the bishop lovely squared, good diagonal here, so leave it there and just develop the rest of your pieces really. But okay, bishop d2 played, e6. E3, C5, takes, bishop D3. So black comfortable, but nothing terrible happening yet.
Yeah.
Oh, so Lorin has played a Benko.
Okay, so now the Benko is an opening where black gives up a pawn on the queen side. And the idea is you get very active play for your pieces. And so you can see here, this is what Lorin does.
Indeed.
And white takes it off, which is normal. You can take it off. And so Lorin's idea is to, play on those open A and B files. And white's idea, BK George's idea, will be to make the most of the extra pawn that Lorin has given them.
Indeed. Yeah, this is the main line, I suppose, of the Benko, where white grabs the pawn and white's king is stopped from casting, but white plays g3, king g2, so it doesn't really make much difference. And black's got the A and B files. White's got an extra pawn, and I mean, I've played these positions with white. I've analysed them an awful lot, but I've always found them tricky to play with white. Certainly,
the white player's doing very well so far. Knows their theory.
Indeed. I mean, I played a game against Gwaine Jones in Blitz and got a lovely position, played really well, but the counterplay always keeps on going, with the Benko, and I mean, it's quite difficult to play at rapid time controls. I also had a game with white in the last round of a weekend open, and it was one of those strange things where I'd beaten a 2650 player as black, so that put me into the lead. Great game, I played really well. And then I played in the last round a 2100 player, and I was white, and I got a Benko. And I mean, I was worse all the game, and only won by gigantic luck, really. So it's sort of, I mean, in principle, I think this is a very good line for white, but quite difficult to handle. So we'll see how white does there. It's let's have a look. Then the next one. Oh, this is a slightly offbeat line from Lorin. So a favourite, I think, of Terry Chapman. This line. So the English amateur. So bishop d3, and then black's going to try and play e5 here. Knight bd7, bishop e7. Sort of an old Indian, but or a Philidor type of thing. But you've sort of restricted the white pieces in a way. But your queen on a5 is a little bit odd. So it's a sort of swings and roundabouts thing. White's most aggressive line here is actually to play f4 and really try and grab a lot of central space. So,
in this position? No, in that. Yes, in this position.
In this position, f4 here.
Wow. Yeah.
So very, very dangerous for black, actually. I think the engines are assessed as something like plus 1.5 for white. But of course, I mean, that's in normal play, it's a bit more unclear than that. We've got a mainline Caracan brewing here. So e4, c6, d4, d5, knight d2. Bishop F5. I think I played Bishop D3 against Lorin, actually, sacrificing this D4 pawn.
Oh, right.
It was an Alekin favourite, in actual fact. So
was it deliberate?
Yeah. I'd been studying some games of Alekin, so I thought,
okay,
well, let's do it. I think Lorin didn't take the pawn, actually. Even I think he played something else, but
yeah.
But that was
and this time Lorin's on the white side, so he might try it.
No, he played knight G3. He played the good old. This is the main line so far. Theory goes up to about move 40, really. So, well, we'll see how all that goes. Then we've got this is weird. Let's have a look.
How did this go?
Oh, this is the rat.
A rat.
The rat opening. So this is a Magnus Carlsen favourite in Banter Blitz. Countless games with the rat.
Is the rat the black side?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Knight F6 on move 2.
Okay, so white could presumably go E5.
Yeah, the idea is that after E5 you go knight H5, and if bishop E2 you go D6, and sacrifice this a pawn here, but get the 2 bishops. It's a little bit dodgy, but well, I mean, it's vaguely playable like so many things. So white played knight C3, D5, E5, knight H5, bishop E2, knight G7, bishop F3, slightly unusual, C6, and bishop H6. So we'll end up swapping off the dark square bishop. But I think queen B6 here is going to be a little bit annoying, hitting these 2 pawns. And then the knight comes out to F5. You're probably gonna have to sacrifice this B2 pawn, I think. So wait, that might be fine.
So this is white's played very sensibly this game.
He's played queen B6. There we are. Lorin's played queen B6.
So Lorin's played queen B6. So this will leaves an interesting decision for white. Do you try and defend the pawns, or do you just carry on and try and get an attack, give up the pawn and get an attack?
Indeed, we will see how that goes. So okay, we've got this line. I mean, just his 3 moves. He's already used 12 minutes on this game. I'm getting a bit nervous for him, actually. But so knight F3, knight C6. So the 4 knights. So yeah, now Lorin's got to make a decision. G3. Actually, come to think of it, in his course, Lorin recommended G3. So it's a while back. So and after D5, he played this Nakamura line, which is bishop G2 and E3, which I think was also recommended by Richard Palliser and Simon Williams in their Iron English book and Chessable course recently. It's quite interesting. I mean, you put the knight on E2 and go D4 and D4 or F4. Very interesting line, actually. Funnily enough, there were quite a few AlphaZero or Stockfish AlphaZero games in this. Some absolutely crazy ones, and Black played the interesting Queen D3 here, which is really sharp. I mean, it's one of the main lines nowadays, but I think in those days it was virtually unknown. So interesting idea. But anyway, Lorin's played knight F3 here, and now we're going to see whether he plays E3 or G3. Other ideas that have been played: A3 and D3. So and D4 as well.
D4, yeah, I was going to say. You could play D4.
That's the really old mainline D4, but not thought to give white anything at all. Let's have a look. What's the King's Gambit? Surely.
Oh, let's see it.
Natasha's favourite opening.
I like it. Not my favourite, but I do like it.
E takes D5.
I prefer the Mora.
Okay, this is a little bit strange from Black here. Normally. After D5, E takes D5. You've got a number of moves normally. You go E takes F4 or E4, which is the... Do you remember what that's called, Natasha?
No.
E5 to E4.
No, but you're meant to go... or just knight C3?
Yeah, or D3.
Or D3,
It's the Falkbeer counter gambit.
Falkbeer counter gambit. Isn't that just D5?
No, I'm pretty sure.
You need E4 in as well. Okay.
E4 is the normal follow-up. So Queen takes E5 is slightly unusual because white just gains a lot of time there. And this is quite a good advertisement for playing the the King's Gambit with white. Oh, another nice extra tempo for white there. So a couple of lovely tempo. Open E file, F file, Black King uncastled. I think Lorin will be happy with this as white. Little Queen E2 check there, just to keep Black alert. Oh, let's have a look. What's happened here? This is a bit of an unusual line. So E5.
C3 Sicilian.
Played a lot of moves in this game. Ooh, F4. Rather.
Now, I think the white player here is the one who was commenting on the chat.
Indeed.
That the juniors are going to win.
Indeed. F4 is slightly unusual here because sort of when you've got this pawn structure with E5, E6 on the board already, the chances that the pawn advances to F5 are quite not so high. So.
Hi, James Pratt.
Hey,
yes, and the Pribble. Not a rat, it's a North Sea defence, says James Pratt.
I'm pretty sure it's called the rat. So that's what Magnus called it anyway. So, but F4 is a little bit also, sort of blocks the dark squared bishop really. So, okay, bishop B4, bishop D2, queen A5, knight F3. Oh, and nabbing a pawn now because the bishop on D2 is pinned. Takes, knight C3. Could have tried to take the pawn, just been really risky, but he played castles, queen D2, knight G6. So a pawn up, white's got a little bit of compensation, bit of free play, but in principle, Black can't be unhappy at having won a pawn that early. Ooh, W Panda playing very solid there. C4, E6, B6, E4, oh, D6. The normal line is to go bishop B7 here, and after E5 to play knight E4. It's supposed to be decent for white, for Black rather. Bishop B7, bishop D3 has been played a lot, but that's also supposed to be quite decent for Black. D6 is a bit passive because after D4, white's got this central pawn mass basically. Bishop B7, bishop D3. D5, E5. So we're sort of a check Benoni structure where Black's already put the bishop on B7, which is, aiming against a wall of pawns, really. So, yeah, this guy's not really very active. H3 now. Lorin's going to expand on the king side as well. In principle, very nice position for white, this one.
Can I give you just a little bit more background on this event?
Go for it.
So Lorin is running, he's done 2 marathons before. In 2010, he ran the Edinburgh Marathon.
Oh, good Lord.
And in 2013, he ran the London Marathon.
Oh, wow.
So October 2021 London Marathon comeback. And so he's attempting his 3rd marathon. He's going to support the Stroke Association, and it's in memory of his father, Bill DaCosta.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And if he raises £1,000, he is going to play a blitz game every 3 miles of the run in his online tournament. So he's going to run and play blitz. So please do generously support Lorin's charity in memory of his dad. I'm going to put the link in the chat for in Twitch and YouTube. There you are. I've just put the link there. So please do support him. It's a really good cause, the Stroke Association. And he's also doing it in a very nice novelty way with chess and running together.
Fantastic. Well done, Lorin. I want to play him at the end of the year.
You're going to play him after 26 miles.
Exactly. Fantastic. Oh, let's look. We've had 1E4, E5. Oh, Lorin must have a look at that game really because although I think it's Black actually who spent a long time over the first move, so that's not too bad. What is it? Oh, this is a strange one. Let's have a little look at that. So E4, E6.
French defense.
Oh, bishop D3. That's not normally thought to be the best idea because it blocks in this pawn, which blocks in this bishop, basically. But knight F6, knight C3, C5, bishop E2, and then Lorin nabbed a pawn.
Yep. Take the money, Lorin.
Knight E5, knight D7, knight G4. Ooh, this knight's a little bit offside. Bishop D6. So knight b6. Oh, and I'm afraid
that was clever by the international master. He's
indeed.
He's
So
trapped that bishop to the pawn on c4. Now the bishop doesn't have a square because the knight's covering a4. So that bishop is trapped, and I don't think there's anything white can do about that.
I'm afraid not. So it looks like that's going to be an extra piece for Lorin there. Let's have a look. We keep on going through the games. What's this one? E4, E5. Oh, D4. Oh, I played this as well. I had actually, it was the same event. I'd looked at lots of gambits that Alekin had once played.
Yeah.
And I ended up trying to play all of them. So the thing is, nobody ever really accepts this gambit. I played it loads when I was 8 or 9. You know, got so many good wins, but nobody takes it. Oh, good lord! But this wasn't. This went a bit wrong because knight takes d4 was played.
Oh, it's defended.
That's a piece. So very good start for Lorin there in that game as well.
Oh, now we can see there's been one result. So it's
oh, good lord.
14 games still in play, 1 win. I think that's a win for Lorin there. I don't know if we can see which game that happened in.
Oh, that must be this one. Must be this one. So let's have a little look how that went. Have I got a yes? So takes. Oh, it was this London system. Yeah, this was a strange move. I think next time, with white, just need to look at playing e3 and so e6, e3 takes f3 again. Probably better just to develop that knight to f3. Get the pieces out before you start moving pawns like that. Oh, e4, that's dangerous. Opening up this diagonal towards the king. So I reckon that's probably what Lorin exploited.
Oh, and you know what Lorin's done? He's very craftily moved his bishop backwards so it's less obvious. And so it's a kind of veiled threat on that diagonal. Oh, yes, I think there's a checkmate coming here.
Yeah, this one's pinned by the rook. So
yes, white can't stop mate now.
So king f1 and queen f2 mate. Well done, Lorin.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Okay, so
well, thank you very much for playing, though.
Can
you see the names? The name's very small where I am.
Yeah, indeed. Well played, everyone. Let's have a look. We've got Phoenix Chaser. So this is a Grand Prix attack. And white's playing it in the modern way with bishop b5, knight d4 castles. Now, the normal way to play here for black is to take and play b5. Funny enough, I actually had this against that was in a one of these London Classic Pro Business tournaments. So I was playing with Daniel Lindner. It's about 2150, 2200, and we were playing with black against Ali Mortazavi and David Howe. So I am Ali Mortazavi, and yeah, of course, Grandmaster David Howe. So a very strong pairing, and we actually managed to win that game, which I'm still very, very proud of. I have to say. But the idea is you go 5, and if white plays e takes d5, you don't play there because of.
Oh, knight c7 check wins that queen.
Indeed, but what you do actually is a clever move. You go a6 first, chase the knight back, and knight f6, and then you just pick up this pawn afterwards with knight d5. So it's just
yes, and then that pawn on f4 looks a little bit out of place.
Indeed, and so I mean, white played e5, and we had a really sharp game. Actually, it was a great game, and but we won. It was I say converting a game when you're playing. So Pro Biz, for those that don't know, it's a pair chess where each player takes one move each. So I would play d5, and then after e5, it would be Daniel's move to do something. So very quite scary chess, really. And
I played it one year as well. I was partnering Mickey Adams. And we got 2 out of 3, including win against Hikaru and a win against Caruana. So that was probably my best day of chess ever.
Yeah, no, you played really well together with Mickey. That's it's quite tough. I find it very stressful to be the the GM, and you're supposed to sort of take the lead and guide your player and all of that. But I mean, some players can do it better than others. I mean, I thought Levon Aronian was absolutely superb at it, and Magnus too, actually. But just these really clever, players who understand very well, what can I let my player do, and how can I make it awkward for the opponent? Give the weaker partner all of the difficult decisions. I mean, that's I was very impressed with. I played against Levon one year, and I was very, very impressed with him. That was really really amazing what he did. Let's have a look. So what other games have we got? We got this one. Ooh, so this was one where Lorin,
look at that knight in on A8.
Yeah, so Lorin picked up a piece on H6 pretty quickly. Well, Percy, no, I don't do that, but I think I'm allowed to say this, but apparently Gary was quite a tough partner to play with, because when you're playing with Gary and you make a move he doesn't like, Gary was.
You can tell, you can tell when your partner doesn't like your moves.
Yeah,
because we were doing that. We did practice for that hand and brain, and at first you learnt to then control it so you weren't too worried, but at first you were like really reacting whenever I played a bad move. Yeah, no, it's so Natasha and I played a hand and brain event it was for Judith Polgar's Global Festival, and so we decided to have a bit of a practice for hand and brain. So actually we played on chess.com, and we're just playing normal games, but hand and brain. So that meant that what was happening, I was making the moves, so I was the hand and Natasha was the brain. I think that was how we did it. And Natasha got a bit spooked because I could just tell whether you like the moves or not. Yeah, that's right. And I wasn't really acting well, but we got it together, didn't we? And I managed to what I actually discovered actually with the hand and brain. I think it's a really fantastic tip. Actually, was that the key thing was not to focus on the move that I wanted to play and then react if Natasha said something else, but it was more to think of what sort of possibilities do I have with each piece. And then after if I said something ridiculous like rook, you'd have some kind of thing to make the best of that situation. Yeah. But I mean, actually, it was more, when I was reacting, when we were pressing, it was more because, I had an idea in my head. And then you didn't do it, and I was thinking, oh, I have to think of something else now. But actually thinking of lots of different possibilities. I mean, that was fine. We played that went well. Yeah, we played well. I mean, we beat Arthur Kogan and his, we had a lovely game, Gambit game against. Yeah, Gambit really played really well. I was really I mean, it was quite good. And then afterwards we had a tough final against Yona Kosashvili and Sofia Polgar, a really strong pairing. But we lost one game because I blundered. That was really. It was quite deep, though. It was a deep tactic. It was a bit annoying, that was. And but then we beat them in the second game and then lost the Armageddon. But or made a draw in the Armageddon, and lost the. But I mean, it was we played really well together. But it takes some getting used to like that. But it's. Hack attack playing hand and brain. Yeah, hand and brain is it's lovely, actually. It really is nice, but it's very important to for the hand basically to just to be looking at all possibilities that you can play, and then never acting in a shocked way when the brain says something different to what you'd expected, because I mean, to be honest, engines teachers, there are often very many reasonable moves in a position. So you mustn't get too hung up on the move that you wanted to play yourself. But yeah, obviously, at the start, when we started on it, Natasha was getting really freaked out by my reactions, I have to say. So it's I'm glad we practiced it, because that would have been a bit little bit. No, I'm quite experienced with these games because I also play pair Go. I've been like national champion at that, like lots of times. And again, you can kind of tell what your partner's thinking, even though you're not meant to sort of give anything away about what you're thinking. You can always tell. But the worst one we had was when it was the opponents, and this was really cheating. The girl was going to play a move and sort of hovered over the square she was going to put this stone on, and then the partner let out this huge sigh, At which point she rethought her move and moved it to a different point in the board until his reaction was different. It was terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, the joys of, yeah. But I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I loved this hand and brain. Yeah, you know, we had a great time. I mean, it really had a lovely time there and playing all that. And yeah, no, it was, and it's, you know, great fun chess, really. Yeah, you think they should have more events like that, really, because it's so much fun, you know.
Mm.
But sorry, getting back to the.
No, this is fun. This is fun because this is Lorin's charity simul.
Indeed.
And it's a great opportunity for juniors to play against international master Lorin da Costa, and also to support Lorin in his chess and running marathon, which also sounds like a huge amount of fun. So every 3 miles, he's going to stop and play a blitz game.
Fantastic. Knight takes C7.
Oh, check. Oh, this looks tricky for black now.
Indeed, there's a lot of pieces being
material.
Taken. Takes knight F3. Oh, it's looking very good for Lorin here. Lots of pieces up there.
Still 14 games in progress. Lorin's got 1, and the juniors have 0 so far. But let's see how it develops.
Indeed. So Lorin playing, just a typical Tromposky here. It's given black the double pawns. Very typical as well. A good strategy with this. To play this structure with a bishop on g2. That's actually one of my most famous wins. One of the best ever, loveliest attacking wins came when I got this sort of structure, but white didn't put the bishop on g2, and I whacked white on the king side. But
black's doing fine, isn't it? Sorry, aren't they?
This is quite pleasant for white, actually. It's
okay.
A bit hard for black to find counterplay in this position. Just very, very solid for white. I mean, maybe it's fine for black, but I've always felt very uncomfortable. I lost a bad game against Ivan Sokolov with black in this structure, and felt very unhappy, I have to say.
I suppose black would want to get it to an end game if they can, to try and take advantage. Black's now got this pair of bishops that can be quite strong. They work together in an end game. Indeed,
it's just that the structure makes it a bit difficult to use the bishops, because if you play F5, then you're hampering this one. You know, so it's I think that's kind of that was what I found. I just found everything I did had a slight
downside,
really. So I think this is good. This shows Lorin's experience, really. I think he knows. I think we've all seen Julian and Mickey playing these positions, and you sort of. You've picked that up basically through your experience. That's so let's go back to the start. White certainly knows his theory here, because 4 is the big main line. It's the line I play as well, actually. Rook A6, Queen E2, Rook A, Queen A8. I think this is Terry Chapman's favorite. He's a big Benko player, Terry Chapman. And I think this is his favorite way of playing. Often you aim for E6 in these positions, break open and try and do something on this diagonal, basically. But Lorin's gone for a slightly different plan: Rook B8, B3, Rook B4. But I think he's going to play E6 pretty soon here and try and break things open and get everything sort of combining against stuff, and then this king can be weak.
So what should white be doing? What should white be doing here?
Well, normally what white's done is quite sensible. Although I'm slightly worried about knight D2, on the other hand, white can play F3 here. I mean, the idea really is that white can. What white really wants to do is to play the knight to B5.
Yes, at the moment it can be taken, can't it?
No, I'd just take it back.
Okay. So white could play knight b5.
Yeah, I mean, normally what happens is that it's just I'll just show you the basic plan anyway. Is you want to get the knight to b5, and then you've got just this strong structure here which really blocks the A and the B files. Which really ruins black's counterplay. And then afterwards, you're going to try and you're just going to try and gradually gain a bit of space, maybe on the king's side, and gradually cramp black. So what Lorin's done with rook b4 is to get ahead of that knight b5 idea. So if black ever goes knight b5, if white ever goes knight b5, then the rook's already active. It's not stuck behind.
So would black just take on e4 then, maybe?
Well, he would if you went knight b5.
Yeah.
So that's why White's gone knight d2. Probably going to consolidate with f3 and then try and look for here. And then, of course, at some stage, this rook on b4 might get into trouble. So, you know, because you could go bishop d2 and attack it. So, you know, it's a sharp game. Lorin's playing this quite sharply. This is a very normal position. White's developed quite quietly and sensibly, but Black's fine. I mean, he's got a pawn in the center. All pieces developed. Queen's a little bit funny, but Black will probably bring it back to c7 soon. So about an equal position here. Still in some sort of mainline carrow. I'm trying to remember my theory here. White goes g4 here, don't they?
Oh, g4. So if g4, can you take that?
Well,
you can, but the lines all get opened up and it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, g4, knight g4, rook g1. If you go knight f6, I go bishop h6.
Yeah.
And if you go f5, I go queen e6. I'm just wondering, actually, whether knight f6, you don't go knight f6 normally. I don't know. I think Black's got the theory a little bit wrong here. I think normally it's queen c7 here. You stop bishop f4, and you prepare actually to castle queenside. That's what you're trying to do. There are some lines where Black castles kingside, but I think this one's a bit wrong. I don't think you should do it in this line precisely. I think g4 is going to be quite unpleasant for Black, because Black doesn't really have much counterplay really against the queen side. So it's all going to be one-way traffic for White there. So I think it's going to be quite dangerous, this one. So quite a good position for Lorin, I think, there as well. Let's have a look at this one. How's this one gone? So we said that Black was going to attack the pawn on b2. So White just defended it. We got knight f5.
So the dark squared bishops are probably going to come off. Yes, they have.
h5. So just to stop the knight getting driven away by g4. Oh, okay. Knight a4. Queen a5. Oops, sorry. Queen a5. Knight. Ooh, knight ec3. That's risky. Because these knights are a little bit.
Yeah, that knight on a4 doesn't have many squares. It can go into c5, can't it? But other than that,
yeah, I mean, I expect it's probably knight a6 from Black here, and then maybe thinking of playing b5, and just making it harder for this knight to come into c5. I mean, you could also just play queen b4, which wins the d4 pawn.
Mm-hmm. So, Guitar Man saying, I guess Black hasn't read Who Dares Wins yet. I'm not sure whether that's this game or the previous.
It's yeah, so queen d4 actually just picks up a pawn. So the d4 pawn this week. So yeah, that's also looking good for Lorin. Lorin's got a lot of good positions here.
Okay. So which ones do we think the juniors are doing quite well on? And don't say none of them.
Well, this one's still quite unclear. So quite early on. So going to see how Lorin deals with his Grand Prix attack.
Yes, he has put his knight in on d4. I was predicting that.
Indeed.
At an early stage.
Indeed. So Lorin's preparing to play knight e7 and d5 there. So White stopped Black from going b5, but I think knight e7 and d5 is going to come in. So have to see how White deals with that. Let's have a look. I think this one is. Oh, we got mate in 1 on the board here.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh, will he see it? This is Lorin can play mate in 1. Will he see it? I wonder. I expect he will.
I would.
Expect he will. He's an international master. He'll see it like a flash.
I would bet that. I would bet on that. So no, I mean, General Lorin's got some very good positions. This one's quite unclear, but I do quite like White's play here. So have a look at how he went. So we were wondering the 4 knights. How was Lorin going to play it? He played e3. Bishop e7, a3, queen c2. So it's quite a nice system, this. Just actually, you're just going to put bishop on b2, and at some stage you're going to go for g4, h4, knight g5. It's quite unpleasant. Black played maybe a little bit strangely. I mean, he played d6 and then afterwards played d5. I mean, sort of thing where you think you could play d5 in one move. Really, that might have been easier. But c takes d5, knight d5, bishop b2, takes, bishop g3, g6, h4. So Lorin already trying to get his attack going, and now
he is. He's trying for an attack down that h file, but also backed up by that queen and bishop both aiming at g6.
Yeah, I mean,
bishop g4 is a sensible move to defend.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be tempted to play h5 here, to be honest.
And if the bishop takes, you maybe even sacrifice your rook.
Yeah, could do, or even just knight h2,
threatening to trap the bishop with g4.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very maybe quite unpleasant for black, I think. So maybe you can go queen d7 though. Not how clear is that? Maybe not so clear, but maybe just rook g1. It's very hard to get that bishop, to get that bishop back into play. If you go g5, then I've got bishop takes h7 check, which is also quite nice. So I think this is quite strong for white, really. But we'll see what Lorin does. He could also just castle queenside. That's also quite interesting. Or you could just play knight h2, and then when the bishop moves away, then you just play h5. That's also possible as well.
2 wins. Is that the checkmate we saw?
Yes, that's right. That's
that checkmate happened.
That checkmate happened.
It just reminded me. I don't know if you ever watched The Chase, and when your normal contestants are up against these chasers that know everything, and they kind of get to this thing, and you've got the answer wrong, and then they say, "Do you think the chaser knows it?" And it's like, "Will Lorin see the mate?" And you're like, "You're sure they will, but maybe there's this chance they won't." And he's found it.
Indeed. Ava, let's have a look. Sorry, I'm speaking Dutch. I've been speaking Dutch all day. Actually, Lorin speaks Dutch,
Ah.
I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. Why was it? He's told me, and I've forgotten. Did he live in Holland for a while? Or has he got Belgian relatives?
Something Belgian. Yeah, Belgian. He's got a Belgian connection, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got a Belgian connection. So he speaks Flemish, but that's Dutch, obviously. So
yeah.
There are not many foreigners who do, put it that way. Not many. I think I do actually wonder how many speak that actually. So, but let's have a look. So this was this was where Lorin won a piece quite quickly, and I think he picked up another piece. Oh yeah, this was taken as well. He took and that was another piece as well. So
okay.
Lorin is 3 pieces up now. So. And there's a raging attack against the king, so I think this is going to be, I'm not sure that black's going to be able to survive for much longer in this one.
So if the juniors don't win this match, they can blame Lorin, presumably, can't they? Because isn't he? I think he teaches quite a few of them.
Good Lord. That's I have to say that this game is pretty sharp now. So knight d2 played. Lorin, as we said, played e6, break open, but white's reacted very sharply with knight b5.
Okay, well that's a creative move then. b5 to come in and aim for this fork on c7.
Indeed. So that would be pretty good. So after knight b5,
yeah,
Lorin's going to have to do something else. Now, interesting question actually. What should you do?
This is quite a nice move by white. I suppose you can just defend the fork, can't you? You don't need to give it away.
Queen b7, I think, is the most normal way of doing it, because this rook's this is why this rook is on a6. Okay, it's a bit vulnerable to a fork on c7, but it's defending d6. So and also something quite typical is takes. I don't know, call f3 or something, and then you see that the rook is defending e6. So against any checks. So it's a very good piece. But I would say that queen b7 would be my natural move. Now, the only question is with all these things could white play super sharply and play something like knight c4?
Oh, doubly attacking that pawn on d6.
takes here, for example.
Oh, I think white should.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, quite very sharp this. I mean, queen c6. You could go e5 maybe. Just knight e4. I don't know.
Very exciting position, isn't it?
Completely murky, this one. So I mean, this one's probably one of the sharpest ones that the juniors have reached so far. I think it's a very sharp position, this one. Let's have a look. Lorin went g4, indeed, as we predicted.
But how's Lorin doing for time now? He's used up half an hour now. And actually, his opponent's used up only 3 minutes.
Indeed. But it's not bad. I mean, he's into move 16, 17. Yeah. So I think, he'll
be fine for time, I think, because he's really reduced it to 13 games.
Yeah. And I think a lot will have happened before he starts getting really short of time, I think. So,
yeah.
So here, I think Lorin, as soon as he comes to the board, he'll play g5. You've got this hook on h6, so it means you're going to open up the king side, and you are just a lot faster than Black's counterplay. I mean, Black's a very long way away from creating any threats there. So looking very good for Lorin on that board. This one hasn't moved very much. I think probably Lorin will play queen c7, won't he? I think probably. Maybe b5 first, but quite just a normal, sensible position for Black. Lorin did play queen b4. So yeah, this pawn now is doomed. So Lorin is going to pick up a pawn there.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got h5, bishop h5. So presumably Lorin's going to play knight h2 next, I think. Could also decide to play rook h7, but I mean that would also rook h5 rather. I mean, that would be quite. That would be
exciting. And then try and bring the other rook into play. You might castle queenside, for example, and put your rook across to h1.
Yeah. I mean, it's generally promising this, but I think knight h2 probably is strongest. But
so what should Black do then? Say Lorin does knight h2. Well, Black needs to worry about this bishop. Yeah, okay. So to stop the pawn going to g4, this queen to d7. So now this bishop's still in danger. So I guess you could just drop it now to g4.
You could do takes. Yeah, that would be decent. I mean, actually, I'm also thinking that you could go rook d8 here, and after bishop there, maybe even start thinking of your own sacks.
That's exciting. So is that a sacrifice?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go d3 after, and this king is actually.
Ooh, this is very exciting. So this could be quite good for Black.
This might be quite good for Black. So so maybe maybe you could just go castles as well, and just that would also be possible, and just wait a little while. Maybe rook h5 is the best. Just
I'd definitely be tempted by rook h5. Just
there, and then castles and rook g1, g4 is going to be difficult for Black this to defend. So where are we here? This one, this is looking very good for White.
Almost the centre's all opened up now, and so
7 check is going to be huge.
Yeah, and look at White's
7 to d6.
It's lined up in the centre against that king, so it's tricky for Black now.
It's going to be huge material advantage here for. Actually, I think probably after we'll go d takes c7 and then knight b5. And then use
knight d6.
Check. And can I find
knight f7? You could to win some material.
I can always win material.
Better, yeah.
Yeah, maybe knight e6 check. I'm not seeing a mate here somehow.
Which
amazes me, I have to say. But yeah, okay, maybe we'll just go knight f7 and just pick up a whole rook. Basically, I think that's probably true. So so yeah, this is looking very, very good for Lorin there already. This board as well. So White's got some attacking chances here. Pawn down, weak pawn here, but you got the f file and some threats. So I guess probably White's looking to move the rooks, but in principle, Black's a pawn up, and just quite a bit better there. But some chances for play. W Panda, one of the strongest players in the simul, but Lorin's doing quite nicely against him. So got this move a4 to a5, which means that you're going to be able to play b4 and attack this queenside structure. So looking quite pleasant there. Here, oh, black has not. What's happening here actually? Because Lorin hasn't made a move here somehow.
No. I hope Lorin hasn't forgotten about one of the games.
Indeed, yeah. So this position, Lorin's a piece up. So 2 bishops, weak pawn here. So looking very good for Lorin, this one. This one we've seen, there's been no move. One move here, bishop a2. Just getting
this is the Grand Prix attack game.
Anticipating d5.
Yeah.
So bishop d3 from black. Yeah, I mean, white can simply play a move like knight d5 here. This bishop's a bit exposed. You go c takes d5, I go queen d3. And this is really worse than the position because this bishop has got a huge amount of scope now. Quite apart from the fact that we're threatening queen e4 check, then hitting b7. So yeah, I think bishop d3 is really a little bit too much in this position. Knight d5, I think, gives white a virtually winning advantage there. Okay. Oh, okay. So Lorin played 98. Slightly surprising, to be honest. 98.
It does defend the fork. So as we saw before, white was threatening this fork with the knight on c7. So Lorin's dropped the knight back to defend. And now white has taken in the center to try and weaken black's pawn structure a bit around the king.
Yeah.
I think I quite like this for white.
Well, yeah, no, I think 98 is a bit odd because you had pressure against e4, and now you're using a knight to defend against c7. I think you could have. I mean, unless there was something really. Queen b7. Oh, was there another idea? Actually, was the idea maybe to? I mean, there was maybe this idea of going knight c7. Because if queen c7, I've got queen a6.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I mean, if you do it immediately, then I can just go something like rook b6, a5. Wowsies.
Okay, so that rook's a little bit.
Yeah, I could go rook a7, but then you go knight b5, and that would you'd probably have to take a draw by repetition. Actually, if you did this,
can you drop the rook back to a8?
Yeah, then I can
knight
b6.
That's the idea. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know whether. I mean, maybe you could, because you're taking on d5 after, so it's not 100% clear. But maybe this was the sort of thing that Lorin was thinking. Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, there's also the idea that you could take on e6 first, and after takes go knight c7, and then if rook a7, you take on e6, which is quite interesting. The only thing about that is that there's all sorts of ideas like knight e4, with discovered attacks up, so it's quite risky. I mean, maybe Lorin sort of thought, well, let's just keep it together nicely and not do anything too crazy. And
yeah, because white still needs to think of some more ideas here.
Indeed. But I think white stands very nicely here, to be honest. I think.
So who's playing white on this game?
That is BK George.
BK George. Okay, let's keep an eye on BK George.
So this one, Lorin's played his queen back to c7 there. So yeah, I mean, not much is happening for the moment. Just both sides got their pieces developed to decent squares. So yeah, I'd rather be black, I think, in principle, because it feels like black's got a little bit more to do than white. But yeah, perfectly fine. So here, still waiting for Lorin. G5 is what we're expecting. Waiting for knight c5 played. So I guess Lorin will take with a queen on d4 and claim a pawn advantage. Okay,
so BK George on his profile says he's got a FIDE rating of 1821, so a strong player.
Lorin took on h5.
Okay. Oh, Lorin has. That's what I would have done. Yeah.
That's a good simul move. So yeah, we're expecting bishop h7, king g7, bishop back to e4, castles queenside, rook g1, and then g4, something like that. Quite dangerous for black. This one, d takes c7, lovely. Get knight b5 into d6, I think, is what we're expecting, and really powerful for white. I mean, I think basically winning this position for white.
Okay. 13 games still in progress and 2 wins for Lorin at the moment.
Indeed. Bishop c8, so Lorin just developing very sensibly here. Going to be, yeah. I think white needs to drive away this knight from g6, so something with h4. Not quite sure when or how, but that's really what you'd be looking for, I think, with white, just to drive the knight away, and then afterwards this bishop can get a little bit of play. There's always f5 though with black to block the diagonal, so it's going to be a bit of a toughie for white here. B takes a5. Okay, so I'd expect an interesting decision here for white. Got a number of things. I mean, you could.
Yeah. I suppose you don't need to take a pawn at all. You could go b5 if you wanted.
Yeah.
But then that a pawn, yeah. Then you, yeah.
It's interesting, but I think it's probably maybe a bit too much. I think so. I mean, ba is not completely stupid, but it would block the whole queen side. So yeah, this is a very interesting line. I mean, I think probably after knight c5, then Lorin will aim just to take on c5 and go rook takes. I mean, you've given up the 2 bishops, but you've got some very nice queenside targets to hit there. So yeah. I think that's probably what Lorin will do. It's a slight advantage for white.
So what did you, if you were a junior player, what would your, and you knew you were about to do a simul against an international master, well, how would you, what would your tactics, what tactics do you recommend?
Difficult to say, really. Play reasonably fast, I think, is definitely a good idea in a clock simul like this. You know, you've got to
run him out of time.
The time pressure is a big thing, really. You know, I think that's one big thing. And then otherwise, yeah, just try and play sensibly. You know, keep the game long because, yeah, the longer it lasts, you know, the more under time pressure the GM, the title player will be. And apart from that, you've just got to try and play well, haven't you? And
yes,
I mean,
so check your moves. Not going to lose any pieces by your moves.
Exactly. I mean, don't do anything silly, you know, and then wait for the opportunity because, you know, I mean, I played lots of simuls, of course, and always make lots of mistakes. You know, at some stage I'll get distracted and maybe lose something or play some bad moves. You know, just got to be basically you've got to have a good enough position that you can exploit it when it happens. You know,
take your opportunities.
Yeah, it must be that you're already 3 pieces down, so then the title player makes some mistakes and gives a piece away, but it doesn't matter anymore. You know, it's I think that's the important thing because random things always happens in simuls. You know, it's just yeah.
I'll tell you one thing not to do. I was a junior, so doing an in-person simul, and Nigel Short was giving the simul, and I can tell you exactly what not to do because Nigel Short blundered his rook and moved on to the next board. And then me as an enthusiastic junior went, he's blundered his rook, ha, 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 ha. Which is not what you meant to do. And then Nigel came back and changed the move. He literally did.
No!
He'll never hear this, but this is a true story. And then he won the game.
Wow.
He said, I can do that until I've played a move on the next board. So I should have kept my mouth shut.
Indeed. Yeah, it's I'm not sure. Yeah. Simul, I say simul etiquette varies. Yeah. I don't
think I'd go back and change a move I'd play.
No, I think I can say that even if I've touched a piece in a simul, I make the move. I think
probably Nigel felt justified because I did this kind of gloaty reaction, and maybe he's right about that.
It'll certainly, you'll certainly.
I've
certainly
been very
go-
modest ever since.
Indeed. So looks like Lorin's going to pick up another piece here with Queen E3 check. So that one's looking very good for Lorin. F3 was played to stop Queen H1 mate. This one's Rook and 2 pieces up, Lorin, at the moment. So
Gosh, that's a lot.
I think Knight H4 is going to happen next, forking the Queen, and then coming with Knight F5. I don't think this game's going to last much longer for Black, unfortunately. On Grand Prix attack, White's played E5, quite sharp. I think Black will play D6, just try and open this up. And Black's fine here in this position. Not in principle, they're doing quite nicely. That's mate. Knight B5 played by Lorin. Yeah, but both this is better, of course. After C takes B5, Lorin will play C takes B5, and hitting the bishop and also hitting the queen as well. So yeah, it's just that's really bad for Black now. But this move, Bishop D3, was a bit too risky. And that one's made. So let's have a look. Oh, this one's a nice sharp one.
Oh yes, this is a very exciting game. So
3, Knight E5, Bishop B2, Queen B7. So
so Black's defended against this fork, and then you were thinking, oh, it's a slightly different position because you were going to bring a knight in and attack D6 again, but we can't do that now.
No, well, I mean, Lorin's played a very important move because the idea is that after Bishop C3, he could play Rook B5.
Oh, and there's a pin. So if Queen takes B5, Queen takes, pawn takes, and then Rook A3. Yeah.
So that's very important. So now, yeah, White's got to think about what he's going to do. I mean, the natural move would be to play something like. They've got to watch out that there's no sort of trickies happening. Not clear. There's going to be stuff happening. I mean, if I had a natural move, you know, if I was playing a simul with White, I'd probably play a sort of a Rook D1 or something, you know, just to get my Rook developed, and maybe think about moving my King somewhere else. You've got to watch out for tricks involving knight discoveries because the Bishop on B2 is loose. Yeah. So, for example, you know, Knight takes F3 is kind of interesting.
You'd have to take back with the knight to keep that bishop defended.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is if you take, I'll take on here. And if Rook takes E4. It's that sort of idea, basically, you know, with this sort of thing. So Knight F3 could play Knight takes F3, defending the bishop. I go, but for example, yeah, I mean, I could try Rook E4 maybe. But you go Queen C2, you know. So this one's probably holding. Although, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's some sort of ideas like this, you know, which are not necessarily completely easy to deal with, but probably you've got enough. But these are ideas that you know, you can definitely think of. So the question is a little bit of a question of how is Black going to build stuff up more? I mean, in principle, White's going to play Rook A1 and probably Bishop C3. That's one of the ideas. So I mean, I like White in principle. I mean, I think White's probably better, you know, quite a bit better in this position. But obviously, there's plenty.
Very nice. Yeah.
Still very unclear.
Yeah. Now, for any juniors watching this back, in case you don't know about it, the British Championship is on next weekend. And so there's age group sections, I think, under 18, 14, 16, 12, 10, and 8. So there's a lot of choice based on your age. And I think it's being played in Milton Keynes. And Matthew and I are going to be doing commentary online. So if you do play in that, then hopefully we will pop in on your game and commentate there.
Indeed, fantastic. Looking forward to it. Let's have a look. We've got some more action in some of the other games. We've got this one, still quite solid. Nothing enormous happening there. Lorin to move in this one. I'm not sure. Maybe try and swap off.
You always got to watch out for that bishop on H4. You can't. Can you play? This is probably. Can you play a tactic like knight takes e4?
Probably not, because I can just take on here, I think.
Yeah, and if you take on h4.
Yeah, if you take on h4, I take on c5.
Take on c5, and you haven't got enough pieces, so that tactic doesn't work at all.
No, so it's an idea. I think probably with black, I'd be thinking of swapping off the dark square bishops, probably just to free my position a little bit. Maybe knight d7, something like that. So I think it's a slight advantage for black, really, but nothing worrying really yet. So here, good lord,
gosh. All white storming ahead on the king side.
Black play king h7, so we can just pick up a piece there if we want. So actually, maybe,
I think you will. Lorin's white here. I think Lorin will.
Yeah. I think maybe even queen d3 check might be even stronger, and then when the king moves, we take on here. That could also be very, very scary. So, but yeah, I think I just take a piece, and white's just winning there. Queen b4, so Lorin still to move, but I think queen d4 will be the move, winning a pawn. Yeah, this one bishop b2 played. So queen b6 played to meet castles with queen a3. So Lorin's going to play the bishop back to b2, and he's going to follow up with castles, rook g1 and g4. I think that's going to be that's a bit unpleasant for black, really. This one, Lorin's got to work out a mate. I don't know whether there's a mate, actually. Much to my surprise, I have to say. So, I mean, there's loads of ways of playing. I mean, knight b5 check simply wins a piece. That's got to play knight d4. So, I mean, that would be as good as any, really. But a bit surprised I can't think of a mate. Maybe it doesn't exist. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not mate. It's winning a lot of material, but yeah. No, I mean, loads of ways for white to win, but I can't really think of a mate there. So knight c5, white keeping it going. Lorin a little bit short of time on this game, so white's playing very, very fast. You see, so that's quite good. Bishop c8 would be the natural move, I guess, for me, just with protecting the pawn, getting the bishop out of the attack of the knight, and letting the rook attack the pawn on d4. I mean, in principle, it's a very nice position for black.
So I'm going to look at which junior has the most time left. LP Chess has 24 minutes. Oh, BK George has 29 minutes left.
Ooh. Yeah, he's playing well. He's playing fast as well. So
I think they get a little increment. Is that right? 30 minutes plus 30 seconds. So they do get an increment. So the further through the game, they might get more time for the juniors.
So WP Panda here. So white exchanging off queens. It's a better position for white. This lots of weak pawns. Queens coming off. So yeah, no king side counter attack to worry about. So yeah, it's a very nice position for white. Lorin's played this very well so far. Moving on. Yeah, this was a weird one, really. Oh, good lord. Black just left a piece on prise. C takes b4. So, okay. So that's a piece for Lorin. So, looking pretty good. 2 pieces up here for Lorin. So, yeah, that should also be, you'd expect that Lorin will finish this one off quite quickly. What have we got here? Bishop g7. So with rook and 2 pieces up here for Lorin. So I guess queen b7 here. And yeah.
Okay, should we see how BK George is getting on in that Benko?
We certainly can. So he's played rook d1. So Lorin's thinking here. Rook d1 was the move that we said we expected. Not quite sure. Not quite sure what Lorin is supposed to do in this position. It's quite fun me. Long day at work. It's been yeah, it's quite a tricky position for black. If the tactics aren't working, then it's a bit hard to see what he might be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could play knight, and well, what you'd like to do is go knight c7, I think, but that obviously loses a rook there. And I was thinking we could. No, you can't actually do that. I was thinking maybe we can go here and come here, but then we get. Then I think we just go bishop c3 and pick up this rook. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what Black's going to do here. If the tactics aren't working, then it might be a bit tricky.
Yeah. Okay, so promising for BK George.
Indeed. I mean, no, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think Black's in a bit of trouble, to be honest. I think this he's sort of run out of active moves, really, and you know, then so the weaknesses that he's created to get activity are just going to tell somehow. So yeah, I think Black's in a bit of trouble here.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Has there been any action anywhere?
Let's see who else. What about Navy app?
Yeah, we're still waiting for Lorin to move here.
Ah.
So queen takes d4 wins a pawn there. So I wonder where Lorin is at the moment, actually. Where is he spending his time? Quite a few games.
I mean, the board that's lit up on mine is the one against BK George. But I don't know if that means he's looking at that board.
Maybe that does. Maybe that does mean that he's looking at that one. It's
it would make sense. It's a tricky one. He's got a bit of thinking.
Mabrunga says, everyone try and survive, then we win on time.
Yes, that's the plan. That's it. Teamwork, juniors. Teamwork. And yeah, all keep your games going. Make it as tricky as you can. And yeah, that helps the time on all the boards. And the other thing is, if you play quickly when Lorin's not at the board, that helps your time.
Yeah.
You should encourage juniors to play quickly. You do make sure you play a sensible move that you're thinking about.
That's what happened to me in 2 of my simuls.
Really? If everyone just played quick?
Well, yeah. I mean, you were there, weren't you? For
I remember that. Yes, I do.
I drew a simul 15-15.
Yes.
With quite a few losses on time, I have to say.
I do remember.
So yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think what Black could do here. I think this the board lit up. Well, I don't know, El Panda. Yeah, I think the board lit up means that Lorin's looking at this one at the moment, but I'm not really sure what I can recommend to him.
All right. What about?
Maybe we should go K8, King H8, H5 maybe. If you don't know what to do, always just play H5. I think that would probably be my recommendation, and then we'll see. I mean, seriously, I want to get my king to H7 a bit out of the way, and then I can maybe look to open up the center, and it won't be so bad for my king. You know, I think that's probably what I'd be thinking of in a simul anyway. You know.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any more action on any other boards. In
what about Phoenix Chaser? That must be the the Sicilian one.
I think we know which move Lorin's going to play next.
He's going to take that knight.
Actually,
and then White needs to decide what to do with the knight. I suppose you just drop it back to E2.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's quite interesting because I was expecting Lorin to play D6 here, and really attack this pawn on E5. But he played D5, so that means after takes. Knight E2. Suppose maybe Lorin's going to play F6, maybe something like this. Possible. Break up the pawn structure like this and play like this. Possible. I guess this pawn is sort of stymiing this bishop on a2. So I quite like the idea of breaking open the center with d6, but maybe this is maybe quite a decent way of playing as well. Just a different way of playing. But I think Lorin's. I haven't seen any moves on any other boards, so I think Lorin's thinking a lot about this one. I think he's got to be.
Maybe. Well, he's got to be careful. He's down to half an hour.
Yeah.
And the opponents have half an hour too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can easily just yeah. It's not just one board that you're losing time. You're losing a board. I mean, that was something I hadn't realised when I did the simul.
Yeah.
It wasn't just on the board where you're thinking that you lose time. It's all over on every single board when you're thinking you're losing time. You know, and I just hadn't understood this at all. Yeah.
So you can by trying to save one tricky position, you can kind of jeopardize the whole rest of your positions.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. He's played knight f7 here, which was not. Yeah, it was a possibility. So, yeah. Again, I'm not 100% sure about it really, but yeah, definitely a possibility. I mean, maybe Lorin's. I don't think he would be though. I mean, you could try and play bishop g7, meet it with rook b5 because a3 is hanging now. But I think, you know, with white, you just play bishop c3, and this diagonal is, you know, it's very pleasant for white. So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
I think it is this. So I think Lorin is now thinking against Michelle Chan.
Ah, okay.
Because that one's lit up.
A queen. Ooh. That's Lorin spotted a mate that I haven't seen. Quite conceivably.
Mm-hmm.
What? So how's this going? Rook c8.
Is he going to go knight b7?
Well, no, we go knight d. I mean, the point was what I was thinking of. I thought just go knight f5 or something.
Isn't knight b7? What does black do? Knight b7 check. Oh, you go into d4.
I mean, I give away pieces. I mean, that's the thing. You know, I'm winning material all over the shop, but I'm just trying to think why did Lorin go c8?
Because it blocks off the c8 square from the king.
Yeah, maybe just go knight f5 anyway and just take all this. I mean, that's also.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you need to go c8. Okay, it's a pretty decent move anyway. So it's winning there, but obviously it's I think a little thing with the time there. So playing Phoenix Chaser now. Knight c6 played, and I think f6 will come in quite quickly, and we'll just claim that okay, we've got double pawns, but we're restricting this bishop on a2, so it's never really going to get into the game again. So, oh, we can follow Lorin.
Follow Lorin.
Rook e1, bringing all the pieces into the party.
Yes.
So
in this game, Lorin hasn't bothered castling.
Okay, he's taken the knight there. Piece up on that board. Oh, he's taken the queen. That was a pretty obvious move. I played knight f5 check, knight d4. So, yeah, I mean, we can do it in various ways. Oh, rook e7 check is a nice attempt. He's done it. Looking for king d8. What's the finish here, Natasha?
Knight e6 checkmate. Very nice.
Great. So I think that's what he's looking for. I mean, king c6 is possible. Then we go knight d4 check. And, that's just winning, of course. I don't think he's got anything better than that. That is pretty good, must be said.
Yeah.
Rook h1 he's played. I was thinking about rook g1, g4, but yeah, actually this is a very nice move, rook h1, because black's gone rook fd8, moving this rook over here. So now Lorin's going rook h1. So that rook will have to come back to there. That's not a bad idea. I think that probably Lorin, after if black goes rook h8, he'll probably go rook g1 and then just look for g4 to g5. I think it's quite nice attacking chances for white. d3, so f6. I think
actually it's been a long time since anyone's got a result.
Indeed, there's a few that are quite close, but I think, yeah, nothing yet. So against BK George, Bishop G7, King G7 was played. So I think, yeah, I think Lorin's probably looking just to, for the moment, just to hold a little bit. The rook's safe on B4. He's threatening rook B5 actually. Yeah, I think, you know, what could white do? Yeah,
White could go knight C4, couldn't? Because that defends the rook on A3.
Yeah, I mean, the key question is whether D5, but no, it doesn't work at all. So probably go queen takes C8 there.
Yeah.
D takes C4, rook D7. So
oh, that's very good for white if white can get that.
So knight C4 would be a good move, and yeah, it's a little bit miserable for black. This really probably play King G8 or something like that, just get out of any checks. But yeah, it's a toughie for black. This one. So he's looking at this position. Yeah, you've won a piece. How do you continue? I mean, ideally, you'd really want to aim for a quick mate, really. So it's a good general move. Knight E5, maybe get Queen E4, Knight G4, Bishop H6. Who knows, something like that. You need some quick. You need to keep on going for quick wins here because you know, if you get too short of time with too many boars, it goes difficult. So
yes, you could get a very exciting end to the session if that happens.
Indeed. So just a piece up in this one, B4. So yeah, just a question of getting the moves done. Rook H8 played, so I'm expecting Rook G1 from Lorin now, just to Knight H4 is conceivable. Looking for Knight F5, and if you take on there, I'd take and then play for F4 afterwards, possible. But I'd probably be thinking of Rook G1, I think. Lorin has taken on D4 here, by the way, as we expected. So just a pawn up. Black avoided
avoided the checkmate.
King C6, but Lorin now is just
yeah,
he's up with a lot of threats. Knight C3, yeah, this is very solid for white. This whole this whole structure here is really solid, and we just got weak pawns to aim at here, so a very, very pleasant position for white. This BK George, which I think is costing Lorin a lot of time actually this game. So BK George playing very fast, it must be said. He hasn't played Knight C4. He's gone Rook A1, but that's very solid. I mean, actually, the Rook will sort of redeploy itself. It wasn't doing much on A3, so in a way, defending it whilst it's on A3 is maybe not so interesting. But Rook going to come around to C1. Yeah. I mean, maybe just aim for Rook C3 and then Rook D3, you know, that sort of thing. Defend B3 from the third rank and start piling up on the D file. So I think Lorin teeing up for some counterplay with D5 now. I think that's what he's aiming for. But I think Rook C1 simply is a good move because now, yeah, if you go D5, then C5 will be hanging. So, yeah, it's a difficult position for Lorin, this one. We've really got to make sure that that one difficult game doesn't, you know, doesn't ruin the whole thing because. So playing nice and fast. Yeah, this is not a super easy one to play for black. It takes a little bit of care. Maybe, I mean, I'd be tempted with black just to go. What would I be tempted to do?
You would be tempted to go Knight G5.
I would probably be tempted to do that, but it's a little bit risky tactically because if I went Knight G5 here, you could chop a Rooney and take here.
Oh dear.
So yeah, you can go with D1, Knight D1, but after Knight G5, you can simply take on here because here allows this. So maybe you just end up taking, but I'll take a Knight G5. Actually, sorry, it's
yes,
it's forking. This is winning a pawn probably.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Who did it with that Basil brush?
No, it was Punch, wasn't it?
Oh, of course.
Punch and Judy.
That's true. That's the way to do it. Oh!
What's happened with BK George?
Oh, that's evil. Oh. So Lorin was played knight f6 just to develop the pieces, and he's left a tactic open there.
Gosh. Okay. So if that knight gets taken, then white can come in and take that rook on a6. And otherwise, the rook moves, white can take on e6 check. So white's winning a pawn here.
Yeah, it was already a Benko pawn up, of course. So
this, then are we, is it too strong to say it's winning for white now?
No, it's definitely winning for white now. Definitely winning for white now. So, yeah. 3 wins.
Three wins. What's happened? One of the games must have finished.
This was Haruma, indeed.
Haruma's finished.
What do we get? Rook c takes. We took that one. Takes. Oh, he took a lot of pieces there. And that was checkmate.
Gosh.
Hey, Julio.
Hello, Julio. How are you doing? We're looking at Lawrence da Costa's doing a simul in aid of the Stroke Association. And he is going to run the marathon in October. And every 3 miles, he's going to stop and play a game of blitz. I bet nobody's ever done that before.
I don't think so. No, it sounds very unusual. So Lawrence sacked the exchange against BK George. By the way, I'm right, aren't I, Julio? You've recently had a new addition to the family. You've recently had a baby with your girlfriend, haven't you? With your wife? Sorry, I just on Facebook. I'm sure I saw it. So,
if so, yeah, congratulations!
Congratulations, Julio. It's your baby looked absolutely lovely. I have to say, he looked absolutely fantastic. So, very well done indeed, and to both you and your partner as well. It's really lovely. So let's have a look. So
okay, so Lauren's given up the exchange.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's quite a few weaknesses still. I'd be tempted just to throw in h5 and just wait to see what white does, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's this is just a very good position for white. You just can't get around that, really. But Lauren's got quite a few very good positions here. So let's have a look. This one looking like it's going to be. I think you go e5, and then afterwards you go rook c8 to c1. That's going to be a pretty quick win. Look how fast white has played there.
Gosh, yes.
Oh, d5 from Lorin. So queen e6 was what I was sort of thinking there. But maybe Lorin's going to try and play knight g5 and then get a bit of sneaky counterplay going.
Oh, he might.
So maybe white should take on d5 first. Possibly that's better. But Lorin's going to get a bit of counterplay, so it's not far from over yet, I think. But so look, Lorin playing this one very solidly. Just yeah, nice solid king side. Going to play queen d5. Got lovely light squares. But yeah, this is Mabrungo who said play fast and run.
Okay.
So definitely doing his stuff there.
Yeah, it's got to be the way for the junior team.
Okay.
Fast has got to be the tactic.
f4, a5. So Lorin, yeah, a piece up. You know, he's up material in quite a few games, but yeah, I mean, sort of know that. Yeah, not easy to put away. You know, and your time ticks down all the time. So still quite thrilling. Lorin, very quickly back to the board. Queen d5 would be my instant move, I have to say. Just hitting there. Yeah, f6 is also a good positional move. Stopping knight g5. In principle, black's just winning this one. Extra pawn, weak pawn on d4, good bishop. But ooh, knight g5 played. So is knight g5 possible here? Sorry, queen e6 played. Is knight g5 possible? That was what I thought.
Yeah, okay. So what happens if knight g5 is hitting the queen? So queen across.
Yeah, the only problem is that
What's the follow-up? Taking on e4, is that the plan?
well, I'm also thinking about queen d7 actually, is what I'm wondering about.
To try and come in on h3 with check.
Question is, I mean, is this any good? Well, I mean, e5, queen h3 check, king somewhere, knight h5. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? You've got rook takes b3 ideas afterwards.
It's a very unclear position, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for white, but I think it's quite it's going to be murky at this time control.
So 12 games still in progress. Lorin's got 3 wins so far. And the time is getting a little bit lower for Lorin. So he's, how long has he got? He's got a sort of 25 minutes, I guess, on most boards for 12 games left. So that sort of evens out at 2 minutes a board. But remember, you do get an increment. So it's not as fast as that.
Actually, and here he's been. There's been a bit of a blunder here because he went knight h4 as we suggested. That was one of the ideas.
Yeah.
But black played b5, allowing knight f5 check. So the queen's gone, and now the knight's going as well. So
gosh,
that one's turned black's Lorin's way as well now. So
okay.
This one here, he picked up a pawn. Oh,
those
actually,
tricky knight forks.
no, actually, knight takes a4 simply, and even spotted that was I was looking to fork and win e4, but knight a4 was simply winning a pawn. So he's a pawn up here too, but it's going to be a long one. So that's not going to be easy. Piece up here, but black's sort of solid. It's going to take a little while to get past him. Maybe you should just go for queen d3. Swap off the queens and then just, it's just trivial, really. I think that's maybe the simplest. He's a pawn up here. Maybe going to be a bit of a long game, but black's a clear central pawn up. So you'll go f6, get rid of this pawn, and then come on the e file, advance the pawns. Should be pretty good. This one we've seen. This one.
Okay, so this was on where we were looking for any possibilities of checkmate. So white's a piece up. I guess if you drop your rook back to e6 check, white will come out. Black will come out to king c5, I would think.
Yeah, not so easy. You're sort of attacked and forked.
You are.
I mean, you can avoid material loss, but I don't see that you're getting particularly. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just say, okay, I'm going rook c4 check and
just swap things off and
just
keep it safe.
Just take the win, really. It's weird. Sometimes you see positions like that and you think there must be a mate, but nothing's obvious. So Lorin's thinking on this board actually, but I think he's done rook c4. That's he's just going to take on c8 and then just be a piece up for no compensation, piece and a pawn up actually. So here. Yeah, I mean, here I think you can just play maybe a few quick moves. Knight g5, maybe round to e6, play g6, king g7, h5, and then gradually start getting yourself moving.
Yeah, what should white be playing for?
I'm not sure really. I mean, it's white's basically just a pawn down there. So, oops, sorry. White's basically just a pawn down here. So hard to say really. Maybe try and get a little bit something going. Get the queen active. Get some perpetuals.
Queen to f5.
Yeah, possible. You're covered though, you know. So by the knight on b6, so nothing yet. So
yeah, white's got to wait for, you know, hope something goes wrong for black.
Yeah, I mean, I go. Oh, I wouldn't go queen e3. I would have gone knight e3, maybe h4, g3, king g2. You know, and then wait for something to happen. You know, I think that would have been my after queen e3. This is quite Now it's just a technical ending, really. You know, because there's no sense in which white's going to be able to get at you at all. So you know, you're just a pawn up basically. Let's have a look. So,
the juniors are being very resilient in keeping the games going. We've only had 3 results so far, and it's been going how long? Nearly 2 hours.
Nearly 2 hours, yeah. No, it's more actually, isn't it? 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think. So
Started at 6:30.
Yeah.
2 hours minus 10 minutes.
So oh, good Lord, look at what's happened on Phoenix Chaser's board.
Oh, well, let's see.
F5.
Ooh.
It's a very, very, very creative, but I'm not sure that it's going to work really, because after G takes F5, it's looking pretty solid for black. Not really sure what white can do about that. You go EF, Queen F6. You haven't. I mean, the idea, I guess, was to open up the lines for this bishop, but you've still got this wall of pawns here. So I think that Lorin's getting the upper hand in this one as well. I think Lorin's thinking he'll play G takes F5. I'm pretty sure. F takes E5. Yeah, I don't know. F takes E5 would also be possible as well. Come to think of it, no, he's played this. And after takes, we'll take there. That's also quite strong. Again, white can't really make much headway against this this black structure, really. 3 wins so far. So this one now, because of black's blunder, looking very good for white. Bishop takes e5 would be the most obvious thing. So I don't think that one's going to last much longer. Oh, let's have a look. What happened here? Queen e6.
Oh, yes.
Played rook b6. Queen h3. Oh, okay. Going for a little bit of a trapperoonie of the queen. Queen's quite short of squares.
So knight.
Yeah, I mean, knight g5. There would have been queen h4, unfortunately, which is just got enough squares there. So he's played d takes e4 here. So yeah, I don't know. If you go knight e4, then I can get my rook active with rook b3, maybe. I'm not sure really. I think I think knight e4 would actually be quite a good move. I think f takes e4 would also be quite a good move, to be honest. I'm not quite sure what black should really be. What black is really trying to do there. There's going to be some tactics somewhere, but I think white's in a bit of white's got quite a bit of good control there. Piece up here for Lorin, so looking good.
So I think I'm going to need to dial off in about 10 minutes to have dinner.
Really?
Yes.
You mean you're putting your dinner above chess, Natasha?
Well, I'm hungry.
Yes. If anyone's ever met Natasha when she's hungry, she'll know that that's not that's a synonym for angry.
No.
Only teasing. This is looking very strong. We've got rook f7 check coming in. Queen takes e8, so looking very strong.
Oh gosh, that's checkmate.
We could have checkmate here very soon. Don't ask me how.
It's one of those games where you kind of think it must be almost over, and then you can't quite get the mate.
In a simul, I just go b3 is also clever. I mean, I'd probably go king d2 or b3 like this, and just sort of try and coral the black king. It's this one Lorin's thinking, so he's pawn. I guess he'll go b5. Yeah, he's going to get a pass. Actually, they wouldn't play the knight onto d4. Yeah, I'd play the knight into d4 now probably, and then go a4 at some stage. And
yeah, that does look nice for black.
Very, very nice. So yeah, this is another very good position for black. Probably just come with the pawns and just gain some space. Very little that white can do there really. So Mabrunga playing super fast. A bit of a fork of the old Rook-a-Roonies there.
Another knight fork. We've seen several of them today already.
Yeah, it's starting to collapse, this one for white, I'm afraid. So I think Lorin's going to win this one quite quickly, I think. W Panda, let's have a look. Rook F5. I mean, the natural move, if you can play it, is to go knight D2 and then just come in with knight E4, blockade this square. And yeah, very nice position for white rather. You know, just lovely pawn structure, playing against passive black pieces. So I think winning for white, that one as well. This one is definitely winning for white.
Oh, yes.
Mate in
for black, you mean?
For black, rather, yeah. Mate in a few moves. We just play rook g2 and then d2 and d1. So that's going to be winning. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Ooh, the king's being chased here. So mating 2 in actual fact. f4 and queen g6 check. Or queen takes f5 and queen g6 check. That's also mating.
Checkmate. Yeah.
So looking pretty good for Lorin there. Oh, it's black to move, sorry, but yeah, it's not going to make much difference. Let's have a look. Ooh, rook takes c3. My goodness, that's exciting. But I think it's going to be queen takes c3, which I think is I don't really not really sure. Black
queen takes, then you'd go bishop h6.
Yeah, I go f4 then.
And then there's no more scary checks.
No. So I think Lorin's starting to get getting
the upper hand.
Yeah, he's going to have a whole run of wins, I think.
Yeah.
And then that means that yeah, you know, that his that he has more and more time, and his opponents get less and less time. So I think it's one of those things in simuls that you have a certain tipping point, you know, where if people last just long enough, then the title player's in time trouble. But otherwise, you know, if you reach that tipping point to get rid of enough of your opponents, then it is suddenly a big advantage for the yeah. And here we are.
So it's 4 wins now for Lorin.
Indeed, it was. Oh no, it was really White's move to play, and he played Queen F5 check, King H6, Queen G6 checkmate.
Checkmate.
Very well played, Lorin there. So Phoenix Chaser, pawn up there, but yeah, passive pieces for White. So I think again, looking very good for Lorin. This is the key game, really. So there's definitely going to be some counterplay here coming. So White's got to be a little bit careful here.
So yeah, Black's trying to gang up on the White King.
Yeah, I mean, knight f3 is coming in.
Yeah.
The big question, really, I suppose, is whether, you know, could you just play a6 in this position and just ignore it all?
I'm also thinking White might want to get the queen a bit better.
Well, the queen on h3 restricts the knight on e5, really.
Okay, because otherwise rook d7 is coming.
Yeah, for example, if I go rook b2, king h1, knight f3, then you go rook d7.
I see. Yeah. No, you're right.
So I suspect that you can just push the pawn. There's maybe not that much counterplay. I mean, queen c6 could be possible, but then I go rook d5. I think this is the key point. And so I think this one's probably yeah. I think queen e6 played. Queen e6. Okay. That's also quite a powerful move, I suppose. Wondering, I mean, we play rook b2, I think, and then we just see where white's intending to go, actually. H1, I might go c4. I don't know. Yeah. I know it's very difficult. I think this is probably just losing for white, I think, for black rather. But yeah, this is looking very good. Lorin's doing a nice technical job here. So probably will play king takes b4, followed by knight d4, taking on b3. Good technical game there. So I think this one's this one's going to be winning quite soon. This one is winning as well, of course, just an extra piece. That's what Lorin did. Lorin was very sensible. Oh, bishop d6 actually wins.
Bishop d6 and skewer the 2 rooks.
Another exchange, really. So looking very good.
Oh, and it's 5 wins now for Lorin.
Oh, I think we've got mate in 1 here. There we are, mate in 1. 5 wins.
We saw it.
6 wins.
6 wins.
Where was the other win? Oh, this one. Yeah, this ended up in mate here.
Oh,
so,
yes.
There we are.
Mate.
So 6 wins.
The lawnmower mate.
So and we've got we've got a few more that are looking very close to a win already. Well, this one got rook and 2 bishops extra. So I don't think the king's going to last very long. Rook c7 and double up on the 7th, and Bob's your uncle, really. This one as well.
Ooh, check.
Yeah, I think king d1 probably is the best.
What about bishop takes queen?
Oh, good lord! Sorry, I hadn't. Yeah, bishop takes queen could be rather good.
Even better.
Could be even better. Yeah. So yeah, that's all going to be rather good. So yeah, I mean, there's at least another 3 or 4 wins that are coming very quickly, and yeah, key question is whether this game. Oh, okay, rook d6. Oh, okay, but knight f3 now.
How is this? This is interesting.
Knight f3.
Knight f3.
Then queen g6 check. That's rather annoying. Yeah, no, that's rather annoying. I think black's lost here. Actually, I'm afraid. There's no way you can do this. Queen g6 is just coming in, and then everything falls apart. So it looks like this is going to be a
nice game for BK George.
Indeed. Yeah, Lorin played your move. Actually, he took the queen.
He took the queen.
So excellent there.
Who'd have thought it?
Yep. Yeah, this one is going to be mate very, very soon. Bishop g6, and then rook c8. Mate is going to happen. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Yeah, obviously, this one, the game race, queen up, is going to be mate on the next move. Let's have a look. This one, Phoenix Chaser, still.
What a wall of pawns black has across the centre of the board.
Indeed. Probably I'd look for knight e7, come round to f5, to h4, or to e3. I think knight e7 is just queen h4. Why not? It's also very good. So yeah, Lorin's looking at this game. Probably queen e5 is threatened, and yeah, if you move the knight away, then queen takes g6. So yeah, that's looking pretty good.
Okay, I'm going to remind everyone about the charity. So Lorin is running for the Stroke Association he's running the marathon in October. It's in memory of his father, Bill DaCosta. And he is looking to raise money through these simuls and also through his run. So if you are able to sponsor him, that's very much appreciated. And what he's going to do in the marathon is a bit unique. He's going to run, but also play chess. So every 3 miles, he is going to play chess. I'm just going to put the link into the chat here. So please do donate to Lorin if you can. I'm going to put it in both chats. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap up very shortly. Should we just see? Oh, we've had a couple more wins, so let's just look at those.
Yeah, it's there's 8 wins now and 7 playing, and I think what we've got I think 1 game is going to be, or 9 wins now, and 6 playing. And then we've got this game where Lorin is a rook up, so that's going to be a win very quickly. We've got this one, which is going to be a technical win quite quickly. Lovely position for black, a pawn up and lots more space. We've got this game where Lorin's exchanging a pawn up, a big diagonal, so that's also not going to last too long. He's got plenty of time now, relatively speaking. Black sacrificed a piece here, but it's not really sound, so this is again winning for white.
So he's up to 9 wins now, so so he will win the match.
Yeah, this is also he's 2 pawns up and very good position as well. I guess rook h8 is pretty strong. So he's taking the rook off. That's also good. I'd probably play around here now with a knight, and yeah, should just be winning. This one delivered mate. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have 1 game that Lorin will probably lose, which is this one, and then
this one's a bit tricky.
All the rest will be.
All the rest are very promising. All right, so thank you, everybody who's playing in the simul. Very brave to take on an international master, and hope you enjoyed it. Oh, one loss already.
He's resigned. He's resigned.
He resigned on. Is that the game against BK George?
That's the game against BK George. That's right.
Yeah. So 1 win for the juniors. Yeah. So well done, everyone who's taken part. And thank you, everybody, very much for watching.